Welcome to the Lucha Lounge. I'm your host, Steve DeMarco. I hope you're enjoying your fun day, your weekend, your week. As long as you're enjoying it, that's all that matters. I know that I am. Now, was mentioned on Facebook, so not a huge surprise announcement, but for those who may not know, Reality Wrestling's next TV taping, which is called A New Era Begins, which was supposed to take place in the new building on Saturday, January 30th, had to be postponed until Saturday, February 6th. Go to realitywrestling.com if you had tickets, and they will be honored, I believe, but to get details. I think it's just about getting the building as perfect as we want. So yeah, but still, on the horizon, A New Era Begins. Just wanted to point that out. Also, congrats to my buddy Ricky Bear Davidson, otherwise known as Texas Red, and his lovely wife, Stephanie Jones Davidson, on the birth of their new son, Adrian Wyatt Davidson. So congratulations to them. Just wanted to pass that on. And this week, happy B-Day to Eddie Van Halen of all people. Man, big fan of his from back in the day. Speaking of Reality of Wrestling, I caught the last airing, which is on YouTube. So if you haven't checked it out, feel free to go check it out. We're on the march to episode 100. Cannot wait. I mean, episode 100, yeah, it's on the horizon. But just want to talk a little bit about my takeaways from the last airing, which featured 2 title matches, which was a fairly big deal. Gotta say, solid tag team championship match between the Heavenly Bodies, which are the 2-time Reality Wrestling Tag Team Champions, and the Pump Patrol. I'm a big fan of both teams, especially the Pump Patrol. I remember them in the first incarnation, and of course this current incarnation. I'm a big fan of both, and a big fan of the Heavenly Bodies, who continue to be on a roll. Not just working for Reality Wrestling, but wrestling with Global Force Wrestling. Both finishers, the pearly gates of the Heavenly Bodies and the flexorcism of the Pump Patrol, very impressive finishers, or tag team finishers. You don't see a lot of those nowadays, with the exception of, New Day's got one. And of course, the Dudley Boys. But I mean, 2 in my opinion, really awesome finishers, or double team, tag team finishers. Good segment between Rob Barnes and Mr. Lockhart's assistant, who, I don't know, it looked like he knocked out Rob Barnes later on in the evening, or later on in the day. Really enjoy Stevie Ray and Ruthless Ryan's title match segments. This one in particular I really enjoyed. Really good to hear from Stevie and from Ryan. I think Ryan's one of the best guys on the mic, period. So yeah. Really enjoyed Gino's promo. I'm eager to see, I want to back up a little bit, because we're, February 6th. I'm not sure of the finished card. If you're on Facebook or go to realitywrestling.com, they're going to give you a finished card. But hopefully these matches remain the ones that I'm looking forward to. Ruthless Ryan and Mysterious Q in a cage. I can't recall if they've ever been in a cage, so these 2, man. And both have been in pretty epic cage matches. Like I mentioned, I've been in a cage match with Ryan, so and I've battled Q numerous times. So really looking forward to seeing those 2. And Gino had an open challenge, and as of today, Keith Lee took the open challenge. He actually accepted it. So good. I'm very eager to see Keith. Big fan of his. Back in the day, worked for me on Uncut as Kevin Payne. Worked for PCW. Really impressive guy. I know him and Shane Taylor have been making strides with Ring of Honor and whatnot. So it's going to be great to see him and Gino. And another one I'm really looking forward to. I'll get back to Gino in a moment, but really enjoyed his promo. But I'm looking forward to that match. I'm really enjoying the series between Cameron Cole and JJ Blake. A best 2 out of 3 falls match. Booker made it for the next TV taping, and yeah, I've really enjoyed these two. Their chemistry, you know, you kind of get to see two guys developing, and one who's, you know, worked for a bit, and you know, a guy who's pretty new to the scene. But both, I've been really impressed with it, and I you know, what started probably as just a one-off match becomes this series that I'm really enjoying. Abel Andrew Jackson to me is a comedic genius. I love his stuff. The press conference, I thought it was great. Answer the questions on Twitter. And then, you know, just the facials and whatnot. Abel's always entertained me, you know, especially this incarnation and whatnot. So yeah, I simply and wholeheartedly enjoy the message of Shawn Hendricks. His promos, he pretty much knocks out the park every time. But for me, it's like he's delivering a message. And if in fact it does happen and it is him against Kid Ransom in a bull rope match, or Texas bull rope match, which I think is Ransom's speciality, man, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what those two can do. I'm very impressed with Shawn Hendricks, his in-ring work and whatnot. Really enjoyed Aiden's promo. I liked Ivory Robbins' interview by Jada Keys, or, you know, at least kind of a one-sided affair. But Ivory, you know, doing well, developing as a character as we progress. Really enjoy her championship run. And really, the main event to me was pure artistry between East Snow and Gino for the Reality Wrestling Heavyweight title. Gino getting the win. I thought the finish was great. Both guys, man, just wow, top-notch stuff. Let's see. A couple other little things. You know, you hope for a speedy recovery for Nikki Bella, and a neck injury or neck surgery is nothing to, you know, to take lightly, and it's good that the surgery was successful, and I wish her a speedy recovery, whether she chooses to return to the ring or just, you know, call it a career. Either way, you know, really enjoyed her work, and, you know, hoping for a speedy recovery. Let's see. You know, 30 years today, or not today, this week, the Space Shuttle Challenger blew up. I remember watching that in class, and TV quickly being turned off, and yeah, just shocking. I think I even did a report on it, like where they were sitting, you know, at the time and whatnot. Just tragic. Another tragedy. 23 years ago this week, Andre the Giant passed away. Goes without saying what you know, what that man meant to the industry, at least in its, you know, kind of in its, I don't want to say infancy, but, you know, he definitely had an impact on us, you know, and on the industry as a whole. So let's see. Yeah, let's get started with the Rumble. Yeah, I'll talk about the other stuff here in a moment, but the Rumble. I always enjoy the Rumbles. Yeah, they can be a little predictable. You get towards the end, you can kind of see the writing on the wall, and you know, if I viewed this a second or third time, I could see the where they were going. But let me get into the matches leading up to the Rumble. You had that last man standing match, I thought, which was a phenomenal match for that type of match, a really well done match between Dean Ambrose, who retained, against Kevin Owens. I thought those two, the chemistry, I've really enjoyed the build up between those two. You know, the promos and all of that, and really I think it's a great showcase for those two guys. Really well done. I thought the finish was awesome, and it was a great use of the stipulation. Really building the drama. You know, I think I called potentially some shenanigans with Kevin Owens, but you know, some way. But really, you know, you're building a babyface in Dean Ambrose. You're building a guy that won't stay down, and I think that's it was great. It was great. Another really good match, I thought, was the Tag Team Championship match between the New Day. I mean, talk about a great promo. The bowing their heads in silence for Francesca, and then you're hearing Francesca 2 be played, and then the intro, and them walking down to the ring, and man, it was great. And really, it's, you know, that they're in Orlando. I really wish that, you know, sometimes that crowd, it's about the crowd too. They weren't really behind the Usos. I really thought maybe you give it to the Usos in a shock just to kind of keep that rivalry going, but it doesn't look like it's gonna end anytime soon. But you had you know, I thought the right team went over in the New Day. I really have enjoyed their work. I mean, the chemistry of the three, and what they do, and the opportunity that they're getting, and the opportunity, you know, that they're not taking for granted. I think it's just brilliant. U.S. Championship, Kalisto defeated Del Rio to become a 2-time United States champion. It looks like he's going to hold the title for a little bit, which is great. I think, you know, you can say what you want about the build-up, him winning it, to lose it like a day later, literally, but on TV time, holding it for a couple of days, and then to win it back, win it again. But the fact that he's a 2-time champion, I mean, it was kind of it had its moments. It probably wasn't as good as their first encounter, or at least, you know, the first time where Kalisto won the title. I thought that was a pretty excellent title match. But this one was good. You know, I hope Del Rio, you know, I know he's battling some injuries, so hopefully, you know, hopefully. And then, you know, the last match before the Rumble, the Divas Championship, Charlotte retained against Becky Lynch in a solid contest. Now, initially, I think we watched it on a delay, and as we were watching it, it kind of skipped. So we watched the finish, tried playing it back, same thing happened on my network, and then it skipped ahead into the Rumble, and I was like, what? So I had to kind of turn off the application, you know, turn off the network and turn it back on, relaunch it, and then I didn't have any problems. We replayed it, and then I got to see the solid match. Great finish. I thought the Ric Flair kiss stealing on Becky Lynch. Kudos, Rick. Kudos. And then throwing the jacket, I thought was a great touch. You know, I could kind of hear the criticism as far as just continuing to hold on to the move and let the ref take off the jacket. But again, he's got to admonish Rick. So yeah, I thought it was really good and really worked well with the finish. And then to have Sasha Banks come out seemingly on her own. I think Naomi's injured, I think, or dealing with an injury, but Sasha kind of wanting to make claim for the Divas Championship. Man, I very much looking forward to it. I didn't have a problem so much with her kicking Becky kind of to the curb. That's kind of what a heelish Sasha Banks is going to do. It's going to be all about her, and I'd like the little BFF thing, and yeah, I'm eager to see it. I'm eager to see if it'll be a triple threat. I think that would be cool between the three. So close to the 4 women being on you know, wow. What if that was WrestleMania? That was like, oh man, no. Maybe SummerSlam they do that. The four horsewomen. Now, for the Rumble, I heard Bret Hart's take, and I respect Bret Hart immensely, and he had a very valid point. Now, you know, as far as it being predictable, which I'll get into in a moment, because I get what he was saying. You could kind of see it coming. At the same time, and while I'm watching it, I'm just trying to enjoy it, and there was enough here that made me want to enjoy it. For instance, AJ Styles entering at number 3. The fact that he's in the Rumble, he's pretty much the only surprise. I mean, there were no legends, really. You know, there was none of that. There were no legends. You know, nobody. You know, no Jake the Snake, DDP, none of that, which I thought was good considering what the stipulation was. That it was about this title, and the fact that the commentators did put over AJ as phenomenal and really, you know, a guy that I've known a number of years. Having met him, God, I think the first time I met him was the Legacy Wrestling Entertainment Show, which is infamous for a passed out Tammy Lynn Sitch. and I think Sandman or Candido, I think it was Sandman who threw a full can of beer at a fan. He thought a fan threw it, and I think Candido was the one who chunked it at him. Because Candido's like, "Hey man, it was me. What are you doing?" I think I have that still on VHS. But anyway, I've known AJ for a long time. He's genuinely a very great guy, and I'm very excited for the fact that he was in there and he got to make a pretty solid showing. Now, obviously, with him in there, the idea of him winning the title, I said it in my last episode. I didn't think that was going to be the case, but it's still great to see him out there. And again, I think he had a pretty solid showing, as did Jericho. I think Jericho had a really good showing, about 52 minutes, I think. Man, for a guy, who's not full time, I mean, that's a big feather in his cap, and he continues to perform at a pretty good level. And the fact that Styles got eliminated by Owens, that could be a potential thing, I think is great. The fact that Sami Zayn came out and he immediately went after Owens, I thought was really well done. I mean, there were elements of the story that I really did like. Gotta say, the reaction, R-Truth in the Rumble. I continuing to be confused about where he's at. Is just it's genius, man. I'm such a fan of it because the roster can get behind it. Like they all, I think, take great joy in his antics, and it just looks like he's having this amazing time, man. I really trying to win the Money in the Bank, hilarious. Kofi's yearly "How do I avoid getting eliminated just to get eliminated later on" was good, with the exception of you didn't see the elimination right off because they're paying attention to Reigns, which I thought was a tragedy. There were a couple instances where that, like Styles' entrance or intro, not focusing on him, focus on him. Maybe you do one shot on Reigns, but maybe you wait until Styles is in the ring, because it should be, from a production standpoint, I think the focus should be on him. Now, you obviously want to have some focus on Reigns. Now, Reigns, the reaction he got wasn't a positive one. I don't really quite get it. I guess because, being in the industry, when a guy's tapped to be the next guy, that's not his call. The company goes, "You're the guy," or we want to make you the guy. Now, what he does with that, if he doesn't work hard, that's one thing. If he's not a model employee, constantly complaining, that's that'd be one thing. If he didn't have a right to be there, hey man, if your family's in it and you have the ability to get into it, I can't fault you. I look at Charlotte, I look at what she's done. She's only been doing it for 3.5 years. So I don't understand. Maybe because it's well documented, well known that he's the guy tapped. Now, mind you, Rollins has had a pretty good thing, Ambrose has had a pretty good thing, Owens has had a pretty good thing, but Reigns, being tapped the guy. Well, what you do with it is what you do with it. But the reaction was negative. They're in Orlando the next night. Now that he's chasing again, seemingly, he's getting a better reaction. They're in Miami, so, but still, not a great reaction. And then, you hate to criticize creative, but you didn't do this guy no favors. I understand maybe potentially what they were going for. You lay him out. he's getting booed. You call an audible. How do you call that audible? You're going to have to call it. You got to get him out of the ring potentially. I understand that they're trying to protect him, but sometimes you just have to let it happen. Rocky got booed out of the building, man. People were saying, die, Rocky, die. He came back better for it. You've had John Cena literally, people have announced they will riot if he wins matches, and yet he persevered. And I understand for Reigns, it's probably tough. Being deemed the guy and being, wanting to be a hero and looking like a hero. Look at him, man. He looks like a hero. Looks like an action figure. I get why they would push him. I get the lineage and all that. But having said all that, you didn't do him any favors. Whether you call an audible, that's what the refs are for. You could still have knocked them out and kept them out. Now, I think they did that last year, and or at one point where he's down and he's kind of out of the picture, and then the fans are chanting, Roman sleeping or something like that. So, but if you're trying to make him the guy, and the story is him trying to retain it, why give him a break? Why honestly give him a break? Why not you destroy? Because again, yeah, maybe you laid him out, but if you're going to lay him out, then have him stretchered to the back. Have him fully stretchered, like keep the liquidations on him. Maybe they drag him to the back and they beat him up and whatever, but they just didn't do the guy any favors. And then to come out the way, especially because you did have like Ambrose, who had done a last man standing match, and Owens, who had lost that last man standing match and came out, looked more heroic than your hero. I don't know. That's a flaw. Again, depending on where they want to go with him. We don't know what the final chapter is. We're not there yet, but yeah, they definitely did not do him any favors. Another waste, in my opinion, was the kickoff match. Why have those two guys win a tag team match to only be, whoa, that was your shine, that's all you get, you're in the Rumble. I get it, but I don't know, man. If they win, maybe. But again, they had so much going on and whatnot. Hunter came in 30th, wins the title. He dumps out Reigns relatively clean. Same thing with Ambrose. Comes back kind of like a hero there in Orlando, NXT. The things he's done with NXT. Yeah, I don't know. I always, congratulations to Hunter. I didn't see it going that way. I could have seen Bray win it. With the help of his group, with the help of his group, and you could have still, had Triple H eliminate Reigns kind of, without being actually in the match. That would have gotten Hunter so much heat, because you need to get heat if you're the authority. That's your deal, right? I understand it's in Orlando and whatnot. Maybe you're trying to transition, but y'all are the heel faction, so the heat, pull him out, boom, like without being, you eliminated him without actually being in the match. That would have been something. Then you have somebody else, the 30th position. You could have still done everything else, but it's like, Bray with his group. I guess because I wanted Bray to win, because he does have the group, and he could have had Lesnar and him, and then Lesnar could have, you could have done a couple of things differently. You could have still had Reigns and Triple H if you, but you're trying to continue that narrative. But if it's, I don't know, again, it worked the next night, and congratulations to Hunter. And Hunter on Raw, explained why he wants the title. That's great. He made some valid points. That's the thing. He made some very valid points. You can't really argue his logic. Hey, Reigns doesn't appreciate it. Now, speak of logic, we will get into that, or lack thereof, in my opinion, but whatever. Triple H still cuts a great promo. I really believe it. I felt it. I felt what he was saying, and he's still great at it. And he looked like $1 million, and he's going to go into WrestleMania. And if the plan is to put over Reigns at the end, which we don't know because they got this triple threat. Ooh, wow! Could you imagine if they went a different route with it? We'll get into that in a moment. Let's see. So, I really enjoyed Owens defeating Ziggler. I thought the storytelling was great right off the bat. Ziggler, hitting the super kick. Owens, still selling the after effects of. I thought that was great stuff. I really enjoyed the Social Outcast. Hashtag Social Outcast. And Bo Ryder won. Bo Ryder beat Flo Rida. There is no debate. No offense. I mean, maybe he's not a rapper. Nor maybe he's just a singer. Yeah, he got slayed. I'm sorry. He got slayed by Bo Ryder. Bo Ryder, you need to release an album with the one-man band. I mean, you got all the guys. You got the one-man band, so that's all you need. But yeah, all their antics, I think it's great. Like, everyone's starting to get just go out there and have fun. I think it's good stuff. Really impressed by AJ Styles defeating Chris Jericho. I thought it was awesome stuff. Like the story, the handshake was a great touch. Yeah, I was okay with it. It's going to take some. I'm not going to say it's going to take a long time for Styles to get acclimated. I think it's just finding your way within it. He's thrust right into the main roster. He didn't have NXT, but at the same time, I don't think a guy like Styles necessarily needs it. But there's going to be some acclimation. I have a tremendous faith that Styles, in a very short period of time, is going to be, as phenomenal as advertised. And I mean, the match was solid. I enjoyed it. I really did. Once it got going, once they came back from commercial, I think. And maybe the nervousness for Styles, because I'm sure it's a big deal, man. Your debut, you debuted at the Rumble, and then your next night you're facing Chris Jericho. I think I would be feeling the jitters as well. But he's a world class, a phenomenal athlete, and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks. Good post-match with Charlotte. It was a no contest due to the outside interference by Charlotte. Again, I think triple threat. I'm really looking forward to that. Maybe they continue at WrestleMania. I don't know. Would they do a triple threat? We'll have to wait and see. The R-Truth Goldust stuff. The Golden Truth. I am in. Where's the t-shirt? I still have to get a New Day shirt. The New Day, man. Wow. Speaking of a New Day, we'll get into New Day in a second. But I really like their new shirts. They can do no wrong, in my opinion, and they proved it in that next segment with The Rock. The Rock, you all right? God, The Rock. Anytime he comes out, like, if there's any issue backstage, they should all just go, we're just going to do what he does. Or not necessarily what he does, but the freedom that he has, he just takes the freedom. He's allowed. He's earned it. But I think a group like New Day, I think a group like Social Outcast, I think certain guys gain that trust, and then they can do whatever they need to do. I don't have a problem with it. But the Usos came out, so wow, the potential there. The Rock in the corner. Oh man, he blows the trombone. Oh, I can see it. It kind of writes itself at WrestleMania. Not saying that that's what he's going to do, but they are family. I don't know, but So that made it a keeper. I mean, AJ Styles is one thing, facing Chris Jericho. Great stuff. The Owen Ziggler stuff, good stuff. The Becky Lynch side, like, it's post-Rumble. I normally don't keep Raws, but my girl loved it. She actually was glued to this, and that's rare. I found myself really enjoying the Paige, Natty versus Brie, Alicia Fox match. I thought it was excellent stuff. Paige especially, I thought, man, she's solid, man. They're all good. You know, people can say what they want, but I think Alicia Fox is a great talent, as well as Brie. I think she knows what she can do, and she does her stuff well, and great to see Natty out there, and Paige, I just really enjoy. Really enjoyed Kalisto defeating The Miz. I thought it was really solid. Great effort from Miz. Great. I liked the finish. I did. I liked that counter. The tag match between Reigns and Ambrose and Sheamus and Rusev was solid. And then Reigns gets his, he gets his revenge on Rusev, to a degree. And then, kind of the lack of logic. To a degree. Now the Authority says, hey, Reigns, you're not championship material. You shouldn't be champion. We're doing everything in our power to get it off you. We did all this stuff. You've disrespected our family. But you're really impressive, and we need to keep the story going. So we're going to give you one more chance and put you in a triple threat with Ambrose and Brock Lesnar. So maybe they're like, we're putting you in a no-win situation. You got to face your... So there's that. There's where the logic is. You got to face your brother and Dean Ambrose. And don't forget, you got the Beast. So it is kind of a no-win, because can Reigns forget his friendship? Can he really defeat the Beast? It's Fastlane. I will watch Fastlane. I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy it. The triple match has the potential, and who knows? Who knows? I mean, they've been wanting to push this narrative with Reigns, but God, what if? What if? What if? No, well, no, I guess not. They want him and Hunter. They do want him and Hunter. I thought Ambrose and Hunter would be pretty interesting, but I'm sure they got something in mind for Ambrose for Mania, so we'll see. So yeah, all in all, pretty solid Raw. Not just solid, it was really good. I enjoyed every moment of it. Now, takeaways from Impact. Wait, let's see. Anything from SmackDown before I get into TNA. Let's see. Great stuff from Kalisto and Neville. Good counter on the deadlift German from Neville. Great counter into the Selena del Sol. Kalisto retained. Let's see. The fact that Styles got to hit the Styles Clash. There was all this hubbub. He's not going to be able to hit that move. And you know what? Probably on most of the roster he may not. I mean, the bigger guys, probably will never hit it on Kane or Big Show. I don't think he ever needs to. That's where he's got his other stuff. He's got plenty in his arsenal. I wasn't worried. They did refer to the Styles Clash, so obviously they're okay with it. There was potential maybe they tease it, but then he beats Curtis Axel with it, so I'm fine with it. I think as long as guys know how to take it. I've done that move, and I know it can be tough. I've taken that move, and I know it's a little awkward, but if you know where you're supposed, where to go, you should be fine. Pretty solid match between Charlotte and Natalya. Becky Lynch makes the save. Charlotte wins by submission. I thought that was a solid little match. Really again, Golden Truth. I enjoyed their stuff. I'm ready for the t-shirt. And a really solid 6-man tag between Harper, Rowan, and Wyatt against Reigns, Ambrose, and Jericho. Strowman causes the DQ. Big Show makes the save. Pretty well executed. 4-on-4. Maybe that's your Raw main event. I'm sure. Maybe something along those lines. We shall see. I think Brock's on Raw. Yeah, I think he's back, so should make for an interesting Raw. Now back to Impact. you know, let's get ready. So Matt Hardy has a new look, so to speak. I liked him in the suit. He looked very much iconic. The shorter hair, I think it's good. You've got to make a change. I like heel Matt Hardy. I like it. Kind of maniacal, ego-driven Matt Hardy. I like it. His stuff with Jeff, with the fact that Reby is in his ear. You know, he's got to listen. Happy wife, happy life. You know, he's got his kid out there. I don't know. You know, like he's kind of like, I'm the family man and putting it in your face. And he's got Tyrus kind of being a glorified babysitter to some degree. So yeah. The Feast or Fire match, very clustery. Those are tough, man. That's a lot of people to be on the same page and to make sure that everything kind of means something, and because it's about the cases and whatnot. But a little cluttery, So let's see. Miracle Mike Bennett and Maria interrupt. I thought it was kind of pointless. I understand you're trying to give him as much TV time as possible, but there are probably other ways. I don't know. I think Mike's got a lot of potential to be great. I think he just let Maria do a lot of the talking, and then he just kind of adds the last line, like, kind of be, you know, where the words mean more, because you're the miracle. What you say is miraculous. I don't know. Just my 2 cents. Let's see. Now, the Feast or Fire stuff, I kind of get it out of the way. Drew Galloway, heavyweight title. Kind of saw that coming. Eli Drake, King of the Mountain title shot. I'm sure that's probably down the line. You get a baby face. Who knows? Whoever kind of comes out of, whoever Young probably potentially will feud with. Hopefully they put it on a baby face that has some steam, and then Eli can cash in, so to speak. James Storm, tag team title shot. Kind of the writing's on the wall. I mean, people have, you know, former talent has kind of talked about how legitimate the firings are, but this kind of all made sense. Grado losing, I mean, potentially he could come back in a mask. I mean, why not? They wanted to keep him on, you know, they wanted to keep him paid. I mean, put him in a mask. Everyone knows it's Grado, but he doesn't let it in. He never take, you know, that could be the gimmick. You could keep that going for a little bit. Speaking of gimmicks, I like the Crazy Steve with the kind of the crossed inspired meets kind of like the Crow, like I like the cross stuff. I dig that. I was a fan of the comic book. You could go check it out, I'm sure, online. Or I want to say, yeah, I think there's a crossed comic, web comic, but there's other ones. It's kind of a take on not zombies, kind of like the Crazies. Basically, through blood or fluid, you get this cross on your face, kind of like blood, kind of like a rashy blood thing, and then your inhibitions go away completely. They flip, the switch flips, and you become kind of a killer. You maim yourself. It is a gruesome comic or series of comics, and they have a few. They like Family Values, where it's like a farmer and his family, and he's you know, abuses his kids and, you know, his female kids, like sexually and whatnot. Very kind of warped stuff, and then you know, it's all about not attracting the crossed. But again, I digress. Him and Abyss, maybe Abyss has a little bit of a change, but again, recognizable. It's good to see him in the mix. And then I don't know who she is. I think she calls herself DK. She might be Rosemary. I don't know. They've referred to her as a couple things on the site. She said decay, you know, like, but I liked it. I like it. For now, I like it. You know, they attack the wolves. And then Jeff and Matt, I was kind of hoping they weren't gonna blow it off, and they obviously didn't. But yeah, like Eric Young and Bram and Jeff attack Jeff. Matt looks on. Kurt Angle tries to make a save. He gets laid out. Beer Money, comes to make the save on Eric, against Eric Young and Bram, who are attacking Jeff. Then comes out that new duo. Well, at that point, it's just Crazy Steve, and they refer to him as Sadistic Steve, but he's still Crazy Steve. So Crazy Steve and Abyss attack Beer Money. So it's kind of like everybody's kind of involved. It was solid. Again, back to that trio. The Marilyn Manson song, I really enjoyed the little theme music. So yeah. And before I get into the end of this, another thing happened this week. Lucha Underground season 2 premiere. Man. Yeah. Okay. Before I get into my views of it, another person I highly respect, immensely respect, I think he's got a brilliant mind for our industry, Jim Cornette, is not a fan of Lucha Underground. And I understand where he's coming from. From an old school mentality, I get it, wanting to respect our business and not treat it like it's a TV show around wrestlers. Now, if he was talking about a wrestling product, I might be like, you're right. You have valid points. And he does have valid points either way. But he mentioned it in his diatribe. It is a TV show. They make no bones about it. The executive producers make no bones about it. This is a TV show about a temple where the best luchas come to face one another. It's very clearly stated in their very first episode of last season. So they've given you the rules. Now you can choose to accept them, or you can choose to not accept them. But that's your right. Jim Cornette, not going to accept them. I do, because what an introduction. Now, I watched most of season 1. That final, the Ultima Lucha, Vampiro, Pentagon Jr., the Dark Master, brilliant stuff. I was a fan of it. I'm a fan of Vampiro's. Actually, I faced him the only time he and I have ever faced. I actually defeated Vampiro. That's right, I did. Anyway, it was like 2002. No big deal, but it was in Houston, EWF. I digress. Vampiro. Open season 2. I was amazed. I was glued. Because I seen that shot in the trailer, but when they open with it, and the mirrors, so you got multiple, so it looks like, the evil and it just, man, really well produced. Well done, he's got this, is he going to be, is he rehabilitated? It was just brilliant. My God, it definitely is a much darker place. You got Matt Stryker being the good buddy. You got Vampiro, who's just saying whatever he's got to say to get out of there. There's no words. It was just awesome from just a storyline standpoint. Vampiro's in top form. Mil Muertes is pretty much the new boss. He sits on a throne, literally sits on a throne and oversees his kingdom. Katrina, who helps him in many ways, is kind of like the boss, but he's the emperor of this thing. He sits in that. It's just a great visual. It's just such an interesting evil boss dynamic. He holds the gold, so the guy who holds gold holds all the power. Just great stuff. You immediately get a Gift of the Gods championship match. Immediately. Phoenix, who had came back risen from the ashes, won that gold in his first title defense. He loses it to King Cuerno. King Cuerno with a phenomenal, like, not a tombstone, but the package, man, it was just great. Yeah, awesome package tombstone pile driver is what I called it, and he's the new champ, and you know he's not going to challenge Mill, so we'll get into that in a minute. Now the number one contenders triple threat match, you had, you know, and I mentioned this, I did do, if you haven't checked it out yet, I was on the offshoots. We had to redo our talk, and this talk was about a 45 to 50 minute one. Trey explains it, you know, he thought he had it, and then he lost it. I think that conversation was about like an hour and 20 minutes or something like that. It was good stuff. We went all over the place. But this one was more like reality wrestling based, and you know, my thoughts and some PCW stuff and my opinions of things, and I really liked it. But I had mentioned, you know, he was like, well, a couple things that you didn't like, so you'll have to listen to that. But one of the things was like intergender matches. Sometimes I don't like those if they don't have a story behind them. I want the dynamic to be there. With that said, these were two very good examples of an intergender match that worked. The first one being that triple threat match between the former Trios champions. Son of Havoc, great to see him back. On Helico, great that his new gear is awesome. And Ivelisse, really well crafted intergender match. No real strikes. They're all friends, but they're trying to compete. The only one who really did any strikes was Ivelisse. I thought it was a great finish. Just really well crafted, man. And Ivelisse getting the win, it made sense. I liked it. And then she immediately has to face Mil Muertes. She has to face Mil Muertes, who is literally dead, I think. I think he's dead. You know, he's an evil dude. He looks evil. You put him in a suit, he looks even more evil. I don't know how that's possible. Just phenomenal stuff. I liked how they had the Disciples of Death take out Son of Havoc and Angelico. Like, they made it a point. You know, you gotta suspend your disbelief and believe in the supernatural, because that's what they're going with. And again, they've laid out the groundwork. These are their rules. Say what you want, but that's their interpretation of it. And I for one was fine with it. Another great storytelling match. You know, Ivelisse looking like the damsel in distress, and then just trying to fight Mil, and Mil just being like, you ain't gonna hurt me, and then she finally gets a little bit of an advantage. You know, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really well done match. Just great storytelling. Prince Puma makes the save post match. You thought Prince Puma and Mil were gonna go at it. Really, Prince was there to make the save, make sure Ivelisse didn't fall victim. So who knows? You never know where they're gonna go. I'm just saying he played the hero, did well, and then Pentagon Jr., man, wow. He comes in, he gives him the backstabber, and then gives him that arm breaker. Oh, man, it just phenomenal. Yeah, Vampiro's like, what's Vampiro gonna do? This is the dark. Your student, Dark Master. You know, you got your pills. You got to take your pills. Are you going to take your pills? I hope you take your pills. If you don't take your pills, what's going to happen? Man, interesting developments. I really enjoyed the show. And then you thought that was it. And then they brought you a little bit more. They brought back the Black Lotus. They had three guys like looking for the temple. You got Dario Cueto making his return. You know, you think it's the temple, but no, it's not really, and they paid to get slaughtered. You know, they didn't know they were getting slaughtered. They thought they were going to get to see some fights. No, they were part of it because Matanza, who we've yet to see. I don't know. I mean, they go one or two ways with that, but really great stuff. I mean, they had me glued. It was a great hour. I'm very much looking forward to the season because you know it's going to end. You know they're going to have an end of the season, and then they're going to take a break, and you're going to be like, where are they? But great storytelling. All and all. So before I I head out, just a couple of things, man. A couple of this month in history. I'm going to do this moving forward. You know, it's a little, you know, kind of patting myself on the back, Barry Horowitz style. But, you know, this month in history, at the end of every month, that episode, you know, whichever is going to be closest to the end of the month, I'll talk about some of the events that have occurred. Maybe not all of them, because I have some stuff written down, some stuff I can easily find, some of my organizers from back in the day. They're somewhere in my calendars. They're somewhere. I've just got to look for them. So it's basically what I had to go with over the last few years. But I thought, oh wow, what an interesting month of January throughout the years for yours truly. Like in 2005, I defended the PCW heavyweight title for the first time on 2 separate occasions. John Allen was involved in both. Brett Anthony, my boy, Brett Anthony, what's up, man? He was one of them. I actually had to have I think my first title defense was a handicap match that I ended up winning. I beat the new professionals. Now they were in the midst of a feud, so they were kind of a they were a dysfunctional team at that point. But either way, I got the win. And then I got the win in Waxahachie, one of the only road trips we really did. And I faced, again, John Allen with, I think, Pendragon, and the Bussies didn't like me, so they stacked the deck. I think, yeah, Thomas Bussy was special guest referee. That guy. And Damien, the hometown hero. So I'm like in the middle. I got a pretty good reaction. And I got the win. I got to thank Rob Moore and Chris Myers for taking out not just Chris Bussy, but Thomas Bussy as well. And then I think Wally counted the 3 for me. Thanks, buddy. So yeah, that was there. And then a year later, 2006. Talk about a month. Now talk about a month. Here you go. Now if I could, a month. Now I've done some great stuff in one night, but over the course of a month in January 2006, I beat Gigolo James Johnson. I know he's the angel of misery, I think. I don't know. He goes by something in the faithful, but I defeated him when he was Gigolo James Johnson. I defeated Keith Lee, who was Kevin Payne, but I defeated him, and I defeated Lance Hoyt. Yeah, those 3 in the span of 1 month. So yeah, 2008, because 2007 really, yeah, I wasn't on a show in 2007. Now that I remember, no, I wasn't. So 2008, I lost to Franco, my old tag team partner at PWA. Let's see, 2012, we're going to skip forward. Again, that's where a little hazy. But 2012, first title defense of the GCPPW, or what would become the Hurricane Pro Wrestling Heavyweight title. I think it still hold the record for the longest title reign in that company's history. I mean, I was champion through a name change. Imagine that. I think I faced Nate Loss. I think that was my first title defense. I want to say that was, I could be wrong, but I want to say that was it. Someone can correct me. Now 2013, kind of the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Lost my grandmother that year, early in that month. I lost to Abel Andrew Jackson at Reality Wrestling. I think one of my last matches with Reality Wrestling before I, started my duties backstage. But also in that month, on the cusp of holding the GCPPW / Hurricane Pro Wrestling Heavyweight title and holding the TASW or Texas All-Star Wrestling Heavyweight title, on the heels of that, I became, by defeating Lance Beretta, the CWF Heavyweight Champion. I was a champion for 3 separate organizations for a period of time, at least for about 7 months. I held 3 titles in 3 separate promotions. Now I would lose, and then towards the end, but we won't get into that right now. Just saying, basking in my glory. That's right. You're not the only one who can say. Anyway, And finally, 2014, after losing the Hurricane Pro Wrestling Heavyweight title, came back for their annual Glory and Pain 10, where I faced Ashton Jacobs and Major Mark, and the loser I think would be the first entry. And I did not lose that match, but I did not win that match. I think Major Mark won that match. So yeah, yeah. That was a good little match, that one. So yeah, I think that's about it. Now, someone did give me a suggestion, and I thought I would share it with y'all. It was on my YouTube page. It was from this guy, Yusef, who wanted to give me a piece of advice, and he said that I should get better equipment, and I should make my videos shorter. And I'm going to take that under advisement. I'm not sure, if the long form works on YouTube. I have seen instances where it does work. I have seen instances where some people release, a podcast and it in video format, and they get some pretty good views for both, even though it's roughly the same stuff. Because some people like to just go watch on YouTube, and some people want to listen on podcasts, but I give you both. I could make a change to where maybe I break up the videos. I don't know. I'm going to contemplate. Maybe you guys can give me some ideas. Should I go that route? Should it be kind of like what Kevin Smith's doing now with this Fat Man on Batman stuff, where it's like he does 3 episodes, say in a week, and then it's all put together in a podcast. So then it's long form podcast wise, but then they're shorter videos. I mean, my last couple videos have been shorter, under 45 minutes, I believe. This one obviously is closer to an hour. So let me know what you think. I'm very eager to hear what anybody has to say, or any suggestions. I appreciate that. Now, better equipment. You're right, I should. I think maybe some of it is rendering as well, because I render out to something to a small file so that it can be on YouTube. But if I have to, maybe I'll look maybe in future videos. Maybe not this one, but maybe in future ones I'll see about rendering out to something a little larger and see how that goes. But again, I always appreciate anybody's input and whatnot. I thank all of you who are either listening or watching. Next week, who knows? Maybe I'll do some sit downs. I know we'll have. Maybe I'll wait to record this till after the next reality wrestling taping, so I can kind of give you some ideas. Who knows? Maybe I'll do some sit down interviews. I don't know yet. It's all here. We'll see. I'm sure come Thursday or Friday I'll have some ideas, and then I'll let all of you know, all my friends, as I always like to say, stay cool, stay sexy, stay classy. You know what? If you're enjoying your life, you're just trying to be positive with all the negativity that's around, and you're just like, no negativity, I will be positive. If you're one of those that likes to post good stuff and not focus on the bad, hey, then you're already all those. But hey, if you're here, you're definitely sexy, cool, and classy. Until the next time, later!